Welcome back to the trading floor. I'm David Axtell. Episode 20, the final episode of Season 1. We've covered a lot of ground: global FX structure and participants, spot trading mechanics, transaction costs, risk management, forward contracts, pricing theory, corporate hedging applications, hedge accounting, FX swaps, funding mechanics, central bank operations, liquidity management, and in the last 3 episodes, non-deliverable forwards and the practical realities of executing in emerging markets. 18 chapters, 20 episodes, the full scope of FX cash markets. Today, I want to do something different. I want to look forward, because the market I started in is not the market that exists now, and the market that exists now will not be the market in 10 years. I started on a trading floor when FX was predominantly voice. Reuters screens showing streaming prices, telephone conversations confirming deals, a room full of people, noise, physical energy. The price discovery happened in real time, in human conversation, with all the speed and error that implies. Electronic trading changed all of that, not overnight, but inexorably. Today, more than 90% of spot volume in major pairs is executed electronically. Algorithmic execution accounts for roughly 70% of institutional order flow. Voice is reserved for large, complex, or relationship-dependent transactions. That shift was the first great transformation of my career. I suspect we are in the middle of the second. Artificial intelligence is already in the market, not as science fiction, but as operational infrastructure. AI-driven liquidity provision is changing how banks make markets. Algorithms process order flow data, news feeds, macroeconomic indicators, and cross-asset signals simultaneously, adjusting spreads and inventory positions faster than any human trader could. The pricing discipline this creates has compressed spreads in major pairs to levels that would have been unimaginable 20 years ago. For corporate hedgers and institutional investors, tighter spreads are unambiguously good. Transaction costs are lower, best execution benchmarks are higher, the efficiency gains from electronification have flowed, at least partially, to end users. But there are second-order effects. Banks with smaller technology budgets struggle to compete in flow business. The dealer panel that a corporate treasurer maintains is consolidating. 5 major liquidity providers do most of the business. Smaller regional banks serve niche roles. The intermediary layer is thinner than it was. When the intermediary layer is thin, stress episodes become more acute. March 2020, the COVID shock. Liquidity disappeared for 72 hours in several pairs. Not because the underlying economic problem was worse than previous crises, but because algorithmic market making withdrew simultaneously when correlation structures broke down. No human dealer would cover. The electronic system froze. The regulators noticed. The discussions about market maker obligations during stress are ongoing. How that resolves will shape the structure of the next crisis. The settlement infrastructure is changing too, and this matters more than it might appear. CLS, the Continuous Linked Settlement System, currently settles 18 currencies through payment versus payment, eliminating principal risk on roughly $6 trillion a day. That is the safety infrastructure that prevents the kind of Herstatt-style settlement failure that triggered serious systemic stress in 1974. The push for T+1 settlement in equity markets creates pressure for FX to follow. If stock trades settle in one day, the FX leg of international equity transactions needs to settle on the same timeline. Standard spot FX settlement is 2 days. That mismatch creates operational complexity that someone, somewhere, is working to resolve. Distributed ledger technology is proposed as part of that solution. Atomic settlement, where both legs of an FX transaction settle simultaneously on a shared ledger, could eliminate principal risk without the current CLS infrastructure. Several central bank digital currency pilots are exploring exactly this. Whether distributed ledger becomes mainstream FX infrastructure or remains a pilot is genuinely uncertain. But the direction of travel toward faster, more atomic settlement is not uncertain. The question is technology path and timeline, not destination. The geopolitical dimension cannot be ignored. The dollar's role as global reserve currency and dominant settlement currency rests partly on the depth and openness of US financial markets, and partly on the political and military standing of the United States globally. Both of those foundations face more questions now than they did a decade ago. The renminbi internationalisation project is real. China's bilateral currency swap agreements, the cross-border interbank payment system, the digital renminbi. These are not academic exercises. They are systematic efforts to reduce dependence on dollar settlement infrastructure. The pace is slow. The dollar's network effects are enormous. Changing reserve currency status is a multi-decade process, not a policy decision. But the direction of travel is meaningful. For FX practitioners, the implication is that the relative importance of emerging market currencies will grow. The skills you develop, understanding CNY, INR, BRL, not as exotic niche products, but as serious components of global liquidity, will become more valuable, not less. Regulation will continue to reshape the market. Post-2008 reforms substantially changed how FX derivatives are traded, cleared, and capitalized. Basel III altered the economics of dealer market making. The leverage ratio constrained balance sheet in ways that have structural effects on swap liquidity at quarter end and year end. The next wave of regulation will likely focus on FX as a component of broader market resilience frameworks. The non-bank financial institution sector, hedge funds, asset managers, principal trading firms, now intermediate significant FX volume. The regulatory perimeter around that activity is thinner than around banks. Post-March 2020, regulators are interested in changing that. For corporate treasurers, the direct impact of regulatory change is usually on pricing and counterparty dynamics, rather than on underlying instrument mechanics. But understanding why spreads moved, why your bank changed its service model, why certain tenor ranges became less liquid, usually traces back to a regulatory change somewhere in the stack. Let me close with something personal. I've spent 35 years in FX markets. NatWest London, HSBC Dubai, Qatar National Bank, Shua Capital. The market I work in today is unrecognisable in its surface mechanics compared to where I started. Different technology, different regulation, different participants, different geography of activity. But the fundamental reality has not changed. Every import, every export, every cross-border investment, every multinational's balance sheet requires currencies to be exchanged. The world economy runs on foreign exchange, and it always will. The practitioners who do this work well, who understand not just what the instrument does but why it exists, who can translate market mechanics into business decisions for the treasurers and CFOs and risk managers they serve, those practitioners will always find that skill valued. That is why Luigi and I wrote the book, and that is why we made this podcast. Thank you for being here for all 20 episodes, genuinely. This podcast has been a significant undertaking. 20 episodes, built chapter by chapter from a book that took years of professional experience to write. Luigi and I are proud of what we produced here. And now the focus shifts entirely to the books themselves. Book 2 of the Foreign Exchange Markets Professional Series is in progress, FX Options and Volatility. Luigi is writing that one as sole author. I will be contributing the introduction, but the deep technical work on Greeks, volatility services and options mechanics is his domain, and I think you will find it exceptional. Book 3 is Cross-Currency Swaps and Basis Trading. That one brings me back as co-author alongside Luigi. We are already in the making of it. It builds directly on everything in Book 1. If swaps and basis are part of your work, that is the volume you will want. If this series has been useful, tell someone about it, leave a review, share an episode with a colleague who would benefit. That is how we reach the practitioners who need this material. This is The Trading Floor. I'm David Axtell. FX Cash Products by Luigi Rondinini and myself is available now through all major bookstores and directly from rondinini.com, the complete foundation for everything we've covered across 20 episodes. If you've been listening, get the book. For professional tools, mini manuals, and Python implementations covering every topic in this series, visit learn.rondanini.com. Over 140 modules and growing. For corporate treasury and FX risk consultancy, Luigi works with organizations through rondanini.net. For trading floor expertise and institutional FX advisory, I'm available through axtellconsulting.net. Again, thank you for being with us. Thanks to Luigi for the technical production. Thank you to those of you who have engaged with me during these months, and also a special thank you to the Neural Syntax for their soundtrack. Till next, goodbye.